This is Hot Mic.
Hot Mic.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
I think just like Dom's outfit, they're not always pretty. Sometimes they're really ugly. But
Just been all over Amazon and just about every site looking for these mustard pants. And
my wife will tell you, she wants to burn mine.
People actually listen to your show.
They watch.
They
I
watch
told
it.
you, yeah.
play defense in that first half like Dom transitions to you after the game. It's way too long, way too lazy, but
You got all these answers. I'm going to bring you over and have you do our non-conference schedule.
I'd love to. I'd love to go to Grand Canyon,
I would
man.
love.
Hey,
well,
you're
you
doing
can
that
come with.
game.
That's not the thing.
I love when you're on Dom. You're so transparent. And I'm like, so two things are happening. That one, people are watching your show,
Yes,
listening.
yes.
Right? That
Yep.
caught me a little off guard. I'm just being honest.
Yes, people do watch the show. It is Wednesday at 10 o'clock, which means North Dakota State men's basketball coach Dave Richman joins us here after he was just by in the studio, got to tape his TV show, so to reflect on the two games over the weekend, which Dave knows. I'm probably going to ask him here. Happy New Year. How are you?
Great. Thanks. My New Year's resolution was to be nicer to you.
I bet it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was way up there.
Because you are always so nice to me. Life goes on, right? We got a little fat and happy, and as they say with the cat, a little high on our horse, and I got to do a better job of making sure our guys are maintaining the right mindset. It's still a great group. I love coaching this group. I think this is a talented group that's got a bright future ahead of themselves, but gotta make sure we have that same hungry mentality to grow, to get better, to do all the things to get to where we want to get to.
Give me the timeline the last couple days. Did you give a day off Sunday? Were you right back in the gym? What's been the last couple days to get ready for heading out on the road here later today?
Yeah, no, I mean, we need to fall into a routine. And, one of our big core values that we've really tried to emphasize this year, Dom, is endurance. And endurance is no matter what happens, something good, something bad, we've got to respond in the same manner, in the same way. And I didn't think we did a very good job last year of handling success. I didn't think we did a good job of handling defeat, because then we would come in and do X, Y, and Z. And I think it starts with me being the best version of myself. Monday was an uncomfortable day, and that was what I need to continue to do as a head coach, to make our guys, make our program more uncomfortable. But in the same sense, it's not like we are going to go out there and press for 40 minutes now. It's not like we had a 4-hour, 18-mile run or anything like that. That's not beneficial. Like we just said, this group is awesome. I absolutely love being around this group, but I need to be careful. I can't get too close to them either, and I need to make sure that I'm still doing a great job of being their leader and being their head coach to make sure we are working towards that best version of ourselves, which we did not do this past weekend. And listen, St. Thomas is a good team,
Yep.
right? They beat us. Omaha came in here with a huge personal chip, and they were really hungry, and they beat us. Like, hey, I don't want to take anything away from those programs. That's not who I am. But at the end of the day, this isn't about St. Thomas. This isn't about Omaha. We weren't the best version of ourselves, and that's what disappoints me.
Was it one thing you can point to? Was a combination of things? And I know each game was different. Did anything stand out to you in that?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, listen, you asked the question, so I'm going to rationalize some things, but at the end of the day, they're excuses,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
I think there is something to the long layoff, and should we or shouldn't we have played a game after break and maybe gotten our feet under us, right? I think there is something to, in a lot of ways, the quarterback, the shortstop, the pitcher, the most important position, like Brendan Watkins. It not only had it been a long layoff for him, it had been even longer since he'd had that surgery, getting his legs back under him a little bit. And then we were just, there's also some things just that I'm learning with the day and age, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but there's just some things that we need to make sure we're still conversating with our guys about, that, the happenings that are happening in their phones and in their direct messages and those things, to make sure that we just need to be present. And I know that sounds 46-year-oldish, but to really just reiterate, like, hey, what's in front of you is what matters, and all what's in front of you will help us and help you accomplish everything.
I don't know if we've done enough on Mason Miller. I love the way he plays. I know how much you appreciate that. Give us the approach when you found out about these available and why he's such an attractive basketball player for you.
Yeah, I go back to like it's Jared Samuelson, it's Charlie Easley, and I hate to sit here and compare, but that's exactly what I just did. But um, you have a toughness to you, you have an IQ to you. I just read an article where Cronin at UCLA called his guys soft, and he said like you play the guys that are going to play the right way, the guys that are going to listen to you, and gosh, I know that these are talented young men, but Cronin, myself, we've coached college basketball for a long time, right? And so with that becomes a knowledge and a skill set of what it takes to be successful in college basketball, not high school, not pro, all these things. And so it's really continuously getting a group or an individual to buy into that. And Mason does that, right? And now he does that with an elite skill set of shooting. But he's also, a tough mother. He's pace, like his pace offensively, the way he moves with and without the basketball is great. I showed our group. He's the one guy, like, right, consistently right now that is just in a stance and all these things. And Mason and I joke, Mason's not a guy that's going to go up and put his elbow above the rim and smash on you. He's not going to go up and put his elbow around above the rim and block the shot, but he's just in the right spots. He's doing the right things. And I tell you what, like, and again, Mason and I joke about this, but you cannot have a roster of 15 Mason Millers. But if you don't have one or two Mason Millers on your roster, you're not going to be any good.
Yeah.
And I think that's, again, I'm really hoping this is just this past weekend, these 80 minutes was just a blimp because, I think we do have a great blend on our roster of character, talent, and maturity and those things. And like, I love coaching Mason Miller.
We're on the same wavelength, which is scary because I was going to ask you about that because I saw Mick Cronin's and I was going to ask you later, but you brought it up. In this day and age, can you do that? Can you publicly do that and call your players that, or do you have to know the temperature of your team?
I think you can do whatever you want to do, right? And I do think like Mick said, he's been around long enough and he knows it. Here's me being a transparent guy. So when I addressed our guys Monday morning, I said that. Is this college athletics or is this business now with the NIL and the portal? And then I went back to, all right, it doesn't matter. It's what's right. And for me to articulate those things, we talk a lot about basketball players, but we talk a lot about husbands, fathers, employees, employers, right? And to Mick's point, if you don't show up with energy and toughness every day in your work set, someone's coming for you. Now, I'm not a guy that's going to individually chastise somebody or come at them or anything like that. I'm going to own my part in. We've got great guys. So I had a conversation with Luke Kasubke, Jackson Money, Sunday going into Monday's practice about what and they're great. They're like, no, coach, this is on us. Like we need to be better and these things. But it's my job to get them there, right? And that's where I'm going to own this right now. Of like, I need to do a better job of getting them there to make them consistently understand that they need to embrace a target that's on our back. It's all the things that they maybe that as 19 to 22, 23-year-olds that they don't quite really understand.
I appreciate you saying that because I in this day and age, I think maybe you can't be as honest as you want to be. Cause I'm not saying you personally, coaches that because they fear the guy's going to leave. Well, if you're gonna,
I don't fear that.
I know you don't, but there might be some that do.
If I say something that's honest and genuine, right, it's the right thing, and you leave, then I didn't want to be around you in the first place.
Right, yeah,
right. And I've done a lot of that soul searching, Dom. I had a conversation with a Mountain West assistant yesterday, confirming my, like they have a player making six figures, but they still talk about like the character, the work ethic, right? You can still do this the right way, the purity. I think that the part that you need to swallow is having guys brought up through your system, right, is probably come and gone a little bit. Like, let's just be real.
Yep.
But the guys in your system, however long they're there, they can still be good people. They can still have tremendous, love and wisdom and endurance and character and integrity and toughness and all those things that we talk about.
I know you want to defend home court. Does that make it even not more imperative because it's just the next game? Like, okay, we got to go and maybe steal a couple now on the road because we dropped 2 at home.
Yeah, I mean yeah, but we could play in Timbuktu or Alaska. We just didn't. I just am. I know who I am, and people say, up 20, down 20. He's always, my thing is certainly it's winning, Dom. I get that, but when you're not playing with a purpose to get better, that's it, right? There's always something better in front of you. Again, no offense to St. Thomas and Omaha, we want to go to the NCAA tournament. We want to win games in the NCAA tournament. If we're going to do those things, we have to aim higher. And that's my job to make sure that vision is there with our guys every day. We didn't get better this weekend. Yeah, we lost, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
But what really bothers me is we didn't get better.
Now you got 2 games here with Oral Roberts and Denver. ORU's right ahead here, so I want to ask about that. That's a team that we're not used to seeing where they finished last year. Again, trying to predict in October, it seems like a fool's errand. So what do you make of Coach Springman's team and what you're going to see tomorrow night?
Yeah, scary. Because you're right. Something might not be just, I know the one kid has been injured. He's really, really talented, Sam. And it's still Oral Roberts. It's still Isaac McBride.
Right.
It's still a team that's 2 years away removed from a historic 2-year run. I have zero focus on, their current record. Our focus is on, we know this is I'm a huge fan of Russell Springman. I think he's a great guy. He was instrumental, in building what they did and those things. So he gets it. He didn't just forget everything in a couple years. But again, here I go, like the Golden Eagles, ORU, whatever you want to call it. It's the Bison. Yeah. It's North Dakota State being a better version of I just had so many conversations this week with, friends and colleagues about what do you do? How much do you focus on an opponent? What is your preparation like? Yeah, I mean, we prep and our systems do a great job, but it really comes down to blocking and tackling and not getting penalties and things that we can control. And that's what we got to focus on.
Maybe Center is a pretty cool place. You've had some unbelievable games down there. Is there when I say that place, what comes to mind? Is there a game or two? I know there's a couple come to mind right away for me of memories down there.
I think the first one is so much of that 2009 group was Ben Woodside and Brett Winkleman, but Lucas Moorman on the left block had a block shot, in a game that we needed to get to the 1 seed, to do everything that, and it was kind of like, I think DeJuan Flowers said, we all we got, right? And it was a little bit of a us against the world mentality. And that's when Oral Roberts was kind of like they were the last couple of years, just in an all-time high. It was just a terrific win. And I felt like last year when maybe ORU wasn't, just anytime you can go into the Maybe Center and expect a miracle on the court and you can go back into the locker room and celebrate where you got better, where you earned a victory, right? It's just, I don't know. I'm sure it's just like anything. It's still, no matter how the Yankees or whoever you're playing, it's not about necessarily the players, but it's just the name and the program and those things. And we know what we're going to be on for tomorrow night. And
they've embraced this too, Dave. I mean, just when you guys play it, going back to when you guys got into the league in 2008, it's been this way with Oral every time. It doesn't matter what the records are. It's been like way.
And that's something that I've been really, wrestling over a little bit too, is maybe Jackson Money, he's from Fargo, but does Luke Kasubke, Mason Miller, Brendan Watkins, guys that haven't been brought up necessarily in the Fargo, Moorhead, Red River Valley, North Dakota Bison culture, do they really truly understand the successes, that we have and maybe the quote unquote rivalry that you have with an Oral Roberts or South Dakota State or UND because they're in your state. And so with that becomes then the target, or the fact that Omaha, might think that, I'm sure they're using that they're the little brother, right? And they want to, Crutch has said those things too. And, we need to embrace that target. We need to, like I said in the Butler game, we need to embrace it. This is going to be hard because when you get everybody's best shot, that ultimately makes you better too.
Let's break. We come back a couple more minutes here with Dave. We'll chat about the upcoming weekend, a couple other topics as well on this Wednesday. Back on Hot Mike on this Wednesday morning, right after this. Rolling on here on this Wednesday morning edition of Hot Mic, back with Bison men's basketball head coach Dave Richman. We have yet to chat. I know how close you and Tim Polasek are. How many texts did you exchange on Monday night after the football? Did he get back to you after the football game?
Yeah, I guess classic Tim. What did he say? He did his signature: compete, improve, tough. That was it. Thankfully, I included my wife and his wife on the text, so there was a little bit of love in, but dude, I absolutely love that guy. I'm so happy for him. I do think that you media folk in the area are spoiled because with your football coach and your men's basketball coach, you couldn't have two more authentic, just spill out all the beans of pretty much what kind of underwear we're wearing today. Like, you ask us a question, you're gonna get an answer.
Oh, every time, really? I don't know if that's accurate on you. Hold on a second here. Wait a minute.
Well, ask me a question. But I better retract that a little bit. But kudos to Tim. I think there was the article in the Forum about, this was one. I think it was one. Like, there's moments, right? And you go back to his opening meeting with the guys, and you got all these things typed out, and it's your first speech, and you know how it's going to go, and it ain't going well. And Tim does a basketball thing. He pivots.
Yeah.
Right? And he lets them know that he's them. He's been a Bison, and that's the thing. Like, I love what we're doing, Bison basketball, but that's the thing. Like, I'm going to speak transparent. I'm jealous of Bison football, like 60, 70, 80 years of history and tradition and all those things. And we're working towards those things, believe me, and trying to engage our alumni and doing those things. But, he just was able to click and, hit that with those guys. And, man, it's a cool thing. And I grew up in the GA world with Polasek and Vegan and all those guys. Yep. And man, like, if you're Craig Bowl, like, you're smiling, man. Like, that tree and what they're all doing, it's really remarkable.
Pretty good stuff. I wondered if you would a little bit spill the beans on travel this week, because it's not the typical hop on a commercial plane and fly, but you're doing a charter this weekend. But that comes with virtue of playing some of those bigger, high-profile games, right? That you're able to do this, not all the time, but occasionally throughout the season.
Yeah, we're actually walking to Tulsa. It's part of the.
Is the punishment for this past weekend? Is that what you're
telling me? Yeah, it's part of the uncomfort that we're all going to be in. Like, some of them have already started. Like, it's going to take a little bit longer, but we're going to walk.
Got it.
And we're going to learn to embrace the hard a little bit. Yeah, no, I mean, it's part of it. We obviously put a big emphasis on these conference games, and I will say this. Commercially, things worked out pretty well for us. In the non-conference, we will commercial back from Denver on Sunday, just with it being the direct and all that. But it is something that I'm very pleased and proud of and appreciative of, just who we are and the resources that we have and our administrative support to do things like that. Now, we do some of those things and some of the guarantee games that we take to try to set ourselves up to give ourselves the best chance to be successful in league. And, and just in talking to people, the opportunity to get as smoothly, as cleanly, as quickly as possible, safely as possible. There's certainly a lot of other extenuating factors in winning games than beyond the 40 minutes.
Before we go, this is the hard-hitting stuff everybody needs to know. Are you a window or are you an aisle guy?
Oh, I'm a window guy.
Yeah, okay.
Which catches people off guard because
Yeah.
I think there's a little more leg room in the aisle, but I have a touch of claustrophobia. So if I can't look out the window or if I can't, lay my head down a little bit, definitely a window guy.
So I don't mind. I can do
I'm
both.
not like you. I don't like first class it all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
it. Have a special contract with wheels up and, all the things.
Believe me, if you saw our travel yesterday, there was no wheels up on that. I will just say, like, I don't mind window because I'm a head bobber sometimes, and if I fall asleep, I'm crashing into in the side, and it's not a good sign for anybody. So
Yeah.
safe travels, bud. Good luck this weekend, and we'll talk next week, okay?
Happy New Year, brother.
There he goes, Dave Richman, NDSU men's basketball head coach, joining us each and every Wednesday. We're going to break early because the man himself is going to be here in studio. Bison head football coach Tim Polisic will join us after the break. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns after this.